right from the beginning, the person of Kate Ajayi, and she's ready to take us on a wonderful journey of mind renewal. So please, let's pay attention. We're about to tell you about Success Within International in a bit, and we get it started. Thank you so much for staying with us. God bless you. All right. Sorry, please give us a bit. All right. So, thank you very much.
All right. Hi, everyone. Please let me know if you can see my screen for those online.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So about Success Within International. All right. So telling you about Success Within International. We are a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people with emphasis on the youth. I'm sure if you look into the room now, you'd see that most people here are actually youth. I mean, below the age of 60. so yeah, we're all young, and our goal is to grow together, help each other in all facets of life, in every area of our life. So yeah, we're a faith-based organization with the principal aim of igniting the success power within people with emphasis on the youth. Oops. Sorry. Why is it so fast? All right. Okay, so our vision is to raise people of outstanding success for global relevance. We don't play small. That's why you hear that we have a number of people even outside the country, because we're outside Nigeria, because we're not just teaching you success for Nigeria, we're teaching you global success. About our core values, we have core values which are shortened to SPEED. We have spirituality, we have synergy, we have passion, exemplary lifestyle, excellence, discipline, and diligence. All of this you'd find in every exco of Success Within International, and even members of the community. So we'd always pass this on to people who come or join any of our meetings. What is our mission? Our mission is to help nurture youth for creativity and excellence. We're here to teach you God's way of success, not just the world's way of success, because there are different ways of success, but we're here to teach you God's way of success, to help you discover talent and purpose. We want to raise an army of people who will take over the economy positively. And we also want to help people ignite their potentials, because we understand that every single person in here has something amazing within them, and we want to help you realize and actualize that. All right, so right now I'm going to be introducing our host, who is in the person of Kate Ajayi. Please let's welcome her. All right, over to you, Mama Kate. I'll let you introduce yourself. Thank you.
Okay. Hi. Sorry, can you guys hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, we can.
You can see, I can hear you.
Okay. Let me see. Do I have access to share my screen?
Yes, you do. You do.
Okay. Let's try that out.
Can you share now?
It says someone else is sharing. Do you want to stop sharing and then so I can share?
Yes, I think you're good now.
Okay. So can you see my screen?
Yes, very clear.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. So I'm trying to place I want to see people in the room, but for some reasons, I can't see the video. I don't think it's
Okay.
on. Can you help me adjust that just so that, I miss
Can,
being in the room.
can you see us now?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Awesome.
So,
Hello.
hello, hello, hello. Someone messaged me, when they saw the poster, and the person was like, "Oh no, Kate, you're coming to Nigeria." And I was like, "Uh-oh." I said, "No, I'm still here, but I'm sure one of these days, like very soon, we'll be able to have this, in person. I'll be able to join you in person." But yes, so it feels so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me. Just to be sure again, do you see my slides?
Yes, you
Yes,
can.
yes, we
The
can.
power of your mind.
Yeah, and it's very pretty, right?
Very, very lovely.
Okay, thank you. So, we're talking about the power of the mind, breaking limiting beliefs and developing a growth mindset. So, even it's a mouthful. Like just looking at this entire topic, you can tell that it can easily be three different topics, right? But I'll try as much as possible to go through each of them in this session. So, please just message me like when I have like 10 minutes to go so that
Not
I
about.
I just wrap things up. Okay, so this is me. Most of you know me, and I think I heard like in the introductions, I heard a lot of new names, people that I'm not really familiar with. I heard a lot of, students coming from Covenant University. So I'm a proud Covenant University alumni. I finished in 2013. Saying that now feels like I'm old, but please, Success Way International is for youths, and I'm still very much young. I studied biochemistry in school, but I'm nowhere close to that field. I'm now or I'll say I'm a chartered accountant and also a chartered certified internal auditor, right? And I'm not here on my professional platform, so I'll just leave that aside and let's just go straight to the new, would I say the new way I like to introduce myself. I decided to follow my dream, and now I'm a mindset coach. I set up or launched a platform in January. It's called the Renewed Mindset. And basically what I do there is just helping you leverage the power of your mind. I share content on, how you can leverage the power of your mind, recognize your worth, break free from limiting beliefs, and just show up confidently in every area of your life. So today's topic is very much ties into what the renewed mindset does. So if you're just hearing about it for the first time, please stay connected with me. You can follow us on all platforms. I believe it's the same name on all platforms. Instagram, Facebook, Thread, LinkedIn, all of that. You will just at least you'll find us on one of them. Okay, so let's start. So if you know me, I like to share my personal stories. Personally, I'll say I don't really feel comfortable sharing or teaching things that I haven't really practiced, things that I haven't like put into practice in my own personal life. So that's why I always share my stories because I also feel it's very relatable when people share their stories. Then it's no longer theory. Like they've actually you can tell like they've actually practiced it and they now have a good story to say about it. So let me share a story with you. While I was in Covenant University in my final year, McKinsey came. How many of you know McKinsey or heard about
Yes.
McKinsey? Okay, yeah, I see your hands. So McKinsey is one of like the top leading consulting companies in the world. And so they came to see you then, and CU selected some of us based on our grades. I can't remember the grades now, but based on our grades to take the exam. So for me, I was like, oh, this is, that opportunity to work in the leading firm, like just change the trajectory of my life and all of that. And I remember taking that exam. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. And so in that moment, I remember when the result came out and I wasn't selected, I started to question myself like, maybe it's not. And I remember the way, I said it to myself. I was like, maybe you're not good enough for that role, for those kind of opportunities, those kind of like top companies. And then the way I said it to myself was, it's not your type they are looking for there. It wasn't, I never said it out, but trust me, it was something I said to myself in my thoughts. And, that's what you call self-talk. A lot of times we're not saying it out, but we're saying it to ourselves internally. And I remember saying that to myself that, it's not your kind they're looking for there. I think that was 2013, probably in final year. So when I was doing NYSC in 2014, I had another opportunity to apply to KPMG. KPMG is one of the big four companies in the world as well. So I applied to KPMG, and again, I failed. So I didn't pass the aptitude test. And then that thought came back and said, "Oh, you really tried again. Like, do you know who KPMG is?" That I went on and on telling myself all sorts that, it's not your type they're looking for there again. And the thing about KPMG, we've read that, I don't know if that's still the rule now, but I know then once you write the exam and fail, you're not allowed to take the test again until 5 years after. And most times, 5 years after, you already even past the age limit, because I remember they had some age limits then. So in that moment, like the weight of, self-doubt, just, it was so heavy on me. And I was like, and I kept repeating that thing that you're not good enough for this type of top firms. Just go and find your level, like go and find, a regular small company. And I'm not saying, small companies are bad, but I'm just walking you through the thought process I had. And so I remember the following year in 2015, my colleagues then, my friends were applying to PwC, EY, all of that. And for me, I told myself that I'm done. I'm no longer applying to those companies. I can't keep feeling bad and, telling myself that I'm not good enough just because, some companies are not letting me, get into, just work there and all that. And so I didn't apply in 2015. But fast forward, just cutting the long story short, in 2016, I received an offer from PwC. Of course, I applied, went through the process in 2016. So I gave myself a year gap, but of course, something changed between 2014 and 2016. So I applied again in 2016, got into PwC, and I was there for over 5 years in Nigeria before I relocated to Canada. And trust me, I wasn't just there. I wasn't just, working for PwC. I was thriving in PwC. Like my ratings were excellent. And I think the interesting part is when I relocated to Canada, that was it. Yeah, I eventually worked with KPMG. So it was like, everything just, would I say, it was like that cycle to say you could have actually worked in KPMG, right? So what this whole thing is just saying is sometimes we hold ourselves back without knowing, just to be the way we're thinking. So let me not get ahead of myself, but I realized then the whole thing was that my failures were not actually the problem. Like the fact that I failed at McKinsey, I failed at KPMG, it wasn't the problem. It was just the way I was interpreting it. And I think one of the turning points for me sometime in that 2014, 2015 was a book I read, Failing Forward by John C. Maxwell. It's probably still one of my favorite books. And one of the things I learned there is to see failures as a stepping stone rather than a verdict or a destination. So for me, I just stopped allowing the failures I had gone through be the final word in my story. And I just allowed myself, like, just go ahead with these opportunities. Don't condemn yourself. Don't stop yourself. And so for me, when PwC presented itself, I realized that it wasn't, what changed for me wasn't the opportunities. It was just my mindset. The same KPMG that I applied to and I failed, and I wanted to stop, went again to apply to PwC and I got in. So it wasn't like, it was very similar opportunities. PwC is also another company, and one of the big four companies as well. So similar opportunities, but my mindset had changed. And this just got me thinking that what if I held on to that belief? What if I held on to that nagging thought that kept telling me that I wasn't good enough? what if I just went through with it? Now, my entire career has been with KPMG, PwC, and now I'm also in an audit role in another company now, Metrolinx here in Canada. But then I just kept asking myself, what if, what if I didn't let go of those thoughts? And so it just, ties everything together to say that the mind is where it all starts. And just like for me, I almost let my failure define me. Our thoughts actually just shape the way we approach life and just the decisions we make. So let's go deeper into why our thoughts hold so much power over us. The Bible says it, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. And just so you know, our mind is where our thoughts happen, of course, is where your reasoning happens, is where you make decisions. So it's like the control center of your life. And that's why it holds so much power over your life. And I just wanted to think of your mind like a garden. Think about the thoughts you think, the self-talk, the conversations you're having with yourself. Think about it like the seeds you plant. You can't plant a mango seed and expect to reap an apple fruit. No. So whatever you plant is what determines your harvest. So quickly, let's go through the thought cycle. So if you follow us, this is something I've shared on our social media platforms, but I'll just quickly go through it. It's a cycle, right? When I say your thoughts shape your life, it's a cycle. It starts with what you say to yourself. And then whatever you say to yourself triggers an emotion. And from there, it drives whatever actions or inactions that you decide to take. And then that goes into what you end up, whatever outcomes you have. Of course, if you take an action, you have an outcome. If you decide not to take an action, you also have an outcome, right? And then whatever outcome you get kind of reinforces that belief that you already had from the beginning. And then you develop that mindset. You develop a mindset based on those beliefs. And the mindset you develop will then act as a lens and filter everything that you start to think. And then the cycle goes all over again. So let me use an example. So if you believe that maybe you're bad at public speaking, for example, which is a thought you've told yourself that no, I'm not good enough. I can't speak in public. I'm not, you just told yourself all manner of things. Of course, you start to feel whenever a public speaking opportunity presents itself, you start to feel very anxious, like to the point where you're like, no, I'm not doing this. And then you do not take that, you don't take an action of taking that opportunity. So more like an inaction in this case, you reject speaking opportunities. And then when you reject speaking opportunities, the result is that you don't even know whether you can do it or not. And so because you don't have experience based on your inaction, it then reinforces that belief to say, you're bad at it. And then you have that mindset that you're bad at public speaking and you would never get the chance to even improve or even see where you are in terms of being able to gauge your skill or how best you can speak in public. And so that cycle continues to go on. But if you choose the other way, where you believe that, yes, I might not be so good at public speaking yet, I can learn. It gives you a very positive feeling where you want to try it out. And when you try it out, you might not get like a perfect result, but at least you know that, oh, you're learning, and then you can gauge yourself and even start improving. So that's what this thoughts model is about. And something interesting, I think it was last week, I was praying and I was using Joshua 1:9 to pray. And then it occurred to me that even God knows that our mindset is so important. God knows how foundational our mindset is. And so this was a time when Joshua was being handed over the baton to lead the Israelites. And there could have been 1,001 things that God would have told Joshua. But God told him, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or discouraged, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And for me, I realized that God knew that Joshua's mindset could have determined whether he stepped into destiny or he stayed in fear. So he didn't, he didn't try to give him a blueprint or a strategy. The first thing he was going to address was his mindset. And so that's to show you how powerful this is. So I have a question for you. What is fear stopping you from stepping into? And I mean, I know I'm not there in person, but if I was there, I would have asked you to maybe write it down, think through it. It could be on your phone. Is there something that you really want to do, that your heart really desires, but fear is just stopping you from stepping into it? So please hold that thought. And even as we go along, I want you to think through it. So I always say this, and I think I said it earlier as well. Your mindset is the lens through which you see the world. It determines how you perceive challenges, how you embrace opportunities, and ultimately how you show up in life. So you think about two different people that have the same challenge. And I think this is what really got me fascinated about how our minds work. You see somebody that comes from a poor background and they go on to make it in life. They go on to, become very rich. And then you see another person that comes from a very similar poor background and they stay stuck in that lifestyle. And the question for me is what changed? Like, what's the difference between these two people? One person saw, the whole thing as an opportunity, and the other person sees it as a roadblock. So I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. Oh, Ian, she's on this call. And then we're just talking about how innovation births, or rather challenges births innovation. You're stuck in something, like maybe you're facing something, and before you know it, you're thinking of 1001 ways that you can get out of it. But when you're in your comfort zone, you're not thinking of how to be innovative because you're comfortable. And so that's how our mindsets help us, embrace opportunities and just see life differently. And then it also reminds me of the spies that were sent to, I think it was can't remember the exact story now, but I think they were to go spy the land of Canaan just to see, okay, this is the land that God has promised us. Let's see what it looks like. And 12 of them were sent, but 10 of them came back saying that we were like grasshoppers before these people. We were, in fact, they said we were like grasshoppers before our own eyes and also before the people we went to see. So, and then of course, two people came back, same thing they saw, but the other people came back with potential. Like this, they saw it as the land that God had given them. They didn't let, I mean, they may have been smaller than the giants that were there, but that was not what they saw. And that's just to show you how your mindset can color your view of the world. Okay, so quickly, what are limiting beliefs? Simply put, they're mental barriers. They are those false stories that you've told yourself over and over again about what you think you can do or what you cannot do. And I also see them like chains because, I mean, looking at the word limiting beliefs, they're beliefs that anything that holds you back, anything whatsoever that stops you from doing the amazing things you want to do, anything that keeps you from reaching your full potential, anything that restricts you, anything that tells you, oh, this is not possible for you. Just like, what the thought I was nursing when I failed those tests, where I was telling myself, oh no, it's not you they're looking for in these kind of companies. So anything whatsoever that holds you back is a limiting belief. And just as a guide, this are some examples here, things that you might have said to yourself. You're not good enough, you never succeed, you don't deserve happiness, you're too old, you're too young, to even start something new. So many things like this. And I remember, I'm not creative. This is something I think I told myself for a very long time. I always told myself, I don't think I'm creative. And I think last year was probably the first year where I created a PowerPoint presentation by myself, like from beginning to the end. So normally I probably would just maybe I think my husband was always helping me with my PowerPoint because I just thought, how would I know where to put this? How would I know where to put that? I just limited myself that no, I'm not creative. But I remember telling myself, like, kids, you haven't even tried. I mean, at work, I make presentations, but we always had templates. So I just go there and, just I fix whatever it is I want to present into those already prepared templates. So I didn't really have the opportunity to try it out. But last year, I told myself, like, you've not even tried. Like, how can you be telling yourself the same thing for years? Something that you haven't even tried. And I tried it. And I remember the first presentation I made, I got two people that reached out to me after the presentation to say, I should please, like, can I teach them? Of course, they told me my presentations were my slides were very beautiful. That can I teach them how I did it? And I was like, wow, this is a lie that I had told myself for years. And on the first try, I'm here, like two people are reaching out to me, like they really wanted me to walk them through. Of course, I had to walk them through my mindset, how I had to shift my mindset first before I could even create something like before I was able to create that beautiful slide. So if you find yourself telling yourselves any of these things, please just know that they are not true. I might not know you, but I just know that they are not true. They are not true. And like I said, please take a moment, identify any of the if any of these beliefs resonate with you, just hold that thought. We'll talk about what to do with it. So quickly, why do we even have limiting beliefs? Now that we know that it's restrictive, it limits you, you're not able to get to your full potential. Why do we keep repeating those negative thoughts in our head? Why? So one thing I realized is that our brain's job is to protect us. Yes. But unfortunately, in trying to protect us, it could stop us from trying new things. Just like I was going to not make any presentations, or I was not going to apply to those jobs, like the kind of jobs that my heart really desired. So it was just trying to protect me from heartbreak, right? And I think some of us may have this experience. Maybe you have like overprotective parents where you want to do something for yourself. Like you want to, maybe you have an event. You probably have an icon that is coming to that event, and you really want to speak to that person. But unfortunately, the event is maybe in the evening, and your parents are like, no, you cannot be outside at night. Now, they're trying to protect you, but they've also prevented you from, would I say, meeting your icon or meeting somebody that you really feel would change the course of your life. And that's how our brain works sometimes. So when our brain is in this mode, it keeps us in that cycle of self-doubt and fear of failure, because obviously you're not trying new things, you're not taking risks, so you're limited. So before I go into like some of those causes, before we unpack them, I just want you to think of a moment where fear has stopped you from taking action, and ask yourself, was it really danger or was it just discomfort? For example, you had an opportunity to maybe take a promotion at work and you're like, no, I'm not applying. Was that really danger or was it discomfort? Was it just you not being, you're not used to this terrain. You don't want anything that would, mess up your mind or mess up your reputation. You don't want people to say, hey, maybe you don't have leadership experience and you're scared that you mess things up. But was that actually dangerous? No, I can tell you it wasn't dangerous. It was just you feeling some discomfort. So let's quickly go over some of the causes of limiting beliefs. I kind of grouped them into different buckets. So one would be your core beliefs. I think we talked about beliefs as well when we're looking at the thought model. I said here that your core belief shape the way you think. So if you believe, for example, you have a low self-worth, you think you're not good enough, just like I had, you would limit yourself in different ways. It could be that you have a fixed mindset, and we'll talk about that more. Fixed mindset is when you just think that you cannot change. You'll always be that way. Of course, it will limit you as well. And then it could be that you have a victim mentality. You're always thinking to yourself that bad things always happen to me. Trust me, if you have all of this, your brain will continue to look for proof to confirm these beliefs, and you continue to be in that cycle. Next is cognitive distortions. So our brains interpret information in ways that can lead to distorted thinking. So think about it like a system error. I mean, there's sometimes that you have a laptop that is working fine. All of a sudden, it's hanging. Different things are just going wrong with your laptop. Not because the laptop is bad. It's just that once in a while, the word that is coming to me now is, scoin, as they say as we say in Nigeria. So it's once in a while you have those like system errors. So some of those system errors, or say brain errors, could be all or nothing thinking, where you're thinking that if you fail at one thing, then it means that you are a complete failure. Just because you failed at one thing, you start to think like, no, that's it. I'm a total mess. Or maybe because, just think about any area of your life where you've failed at one thing and you've overextended it into every other area of your life. That's a cognitive distortion. Another thing could be mind reading. So I don't know if anyone has experienced this. Maybe you send an email and then, or even send a chat to a friend and they didn't reply you on time. You start to think about all the possible ways, all the possible things, all the possible reasons that they didn't respond to you. I think I remember chatting somebody up recently, and I felt led to chat her up. She's quite a popular figure, and weeks went by, months went by, she didn't respond. And there was a time she commented on one of my posts, and I used that opportunity to say, hey, I sent you a message. And when she responded to me, she was like, oh my God, that she's so sorry. She doesn't know how she missed it. Like, she's so upset with herself, for missing it. And I was just telling myself that imagine if all through the process of her not responding, I was telling myself, oh my God, she doesn't like me. She's probably thinking, why is she messaging me? What if I had done all this mind reading? I would have just been, stressing myself for nothing. And that's a cognitive distortion. Catastrophizing, it could, just similar to all or nothing thinking. Because you make a mistake, you think that everything will go wrong because you've made one simple mistake. And then the final one will be filtering. You don't just see, like, the only thing you see is the negatives. You don't see positive things. Even when there are 1,001 things going well in your life, that's one thing that is going wrong is the only thing you see. So that's a cognitive distortion. And when a doctor, for example, makes a diagnosis, that's the beginning of healing. So this is me please help me. Somebody help me out, please. This is me making a diagnosis. Let me just make it simple for myself, please. This is me making a diagnosis. If you find yourself in any of these things, something is wrong and we need to fix it. So don't accept it as truth. That's what I'm trying to say. We also have past experiences and trauma. And this is just to let you know that your past plays a huge role in how you think today. So for example, maybe you grew up in a very critical environment. It shapes how you see yourself. It could be that you've gone through pains. When you go through a lot of pains, you're on high alert. You want to protect yourself because you don't want to go through pain again. Also, repetitive failure. You keep failing. And so because of that, you tell yourself that it means you're destined to fail. So, it's a bit, they all, I say, they're a bit similar, but I intentionally broke it down because I want someone to be able to see clearly where, they fall into. And then finally, on the causes, we're talking about environmental influences. So I remember when we, relocated to Canada, a lot of people would say your environment matters. Your circle really matters, because when you come here, there is a school of thought that will tell you, when you come here, you have to, like, it's compulsory. If you were a manager or director in Nigeria, you have to come here and, like, work in the store. You have to do Uber. You have to, like, a school of thought says that. that you have to drop your ego from Nigeria and come here and do all those menial jobs. But there's another school of thought that says you don't have to. When you come here, you can get promoted. You can be anything you want to be. You don't have to go a step. In fact, some people will tell you, oh, if you're a senior manager in Nigeria, just know that when you come here, you can't be a senior manager. You have to like go a step lower, things like that. And this just to show you that what you surround yourself with influences you. I think I came across or was having not me having a conversation, but I heard of somebody that was actually a senior manager in Nigeria, and she later she came here and worked at a very very low level. And I remember when she was talking to the person that that I had this conversation with, she said, "I regret this circle I met when I landed in Canada." It was such a painful story to hear because she wasted a lot of years in a role that was beneath her simply because she thought that was just how it should, like that's how it should be. And that's how strong your environment is. Of course, media, whatever you constantly expose yourself to in terms of news, music, what you just hear around your social media feed. You think, oh, it's just social media. I don't know these people from anywhere. But it is going in. Your mind is split into both your conscious and your subconscious. You might think that, oh, you're not conscious of it, but trust me, it's getting stored. The way you have cloud, yes, that's how it is. Your unconscious mind is taking all those things in and just using it as a basis to form whatever or to form something or shape your reality. And finally, cultural, religious, or conditioning. I mean, I've had experiences where I've been in some settings and then the pastor is teaching and you can just tell that this is not really the truth. You're just inflicting fear into you, and before you know it, you start to feel anxious or guilty of when that's actually not what the truth that the Bible is teaching. So what happens when you hold on to all limiting beliefs? I think we've talked. I've mentioned some of these things, but we'll just go through this quickly. You self-sabotage. So here you don't put in the effort. I remember I was going to write an exam. I think this was 2 years ago when I got to Canada. I had practiced. I had like been preparing for that exam for a very long time. And 3 days to the exam, I took the mock test and I failed. For me, that was like, what? I'm not like, how? And I felt so defeated. I didn't even want to like read again. At some point, I was considering maybe I won't show up for the exam. But somehow, I mean, me and God, we're like this. So, of course, I prayed about it and I was like, God, please, like, I can't afford to fail. I know how all the sleepless nights that I had just preparing for this exam. And, from there, having that conversation with the Holy Spirit, I was able to rewire my thinking. And I went on to just continue. Okay, I went back to the mock exam I took, what were the things I failed at. And, I just went back to study it just to know, okay, get better and just know why I was failing those things. And guys, I wrote that exam and not only did I pass, that was the same exam that I ranked first in Canada. Like my result was the best in Canada and 20th in the whole world. Like when that certificate came, when they sent me the email, for me, it was, I think I cried that day because I remember where I was emotionally. I remember the state I was in 3 days to the exam where I did not want to try. Like I didn't want to read again. I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And that's what happens when you hold on to limiting beliefs. Just imagine if I held on to it in that moment. Like, would I have known what was waiting for me on the other side? No, I wouldn't. And that's what happens. You self-sabotage. You won't even want, just like me, I didn't want to put in the effort anymore. I was done. Like, I didn't even want to like read again. So the other thing is you avoid opportunities. And I think I've also experienced this as well. The year where I was supposed to be applying to these jobs, but because I was holding on to it so badly that I didn't think I was good enough for those companies, I decided not to apply. So the whole of 2015 went, I did not apply to, my dream companies. And that's what happens when you hold on to these beliefs. The third thing is you miss your full potential. Now, when you hold on to limiting beliefs, you don't even put yourself out there. You're not going to try to even, want to improve yourself. You're not going to grow. You're not going to take risks. You're not going to, do things that would stretch you. And that way, you miss your full potential. And this just reminds me of the story of the talent. Everyone has a talent. God gave 3 servants different talents, but the one that had one talent held on to the fact that just so many things could have were going wrong with that guy. But at the end of the day, he missed being able to replicate it, even if it was just one that he would get, in terms of being able to duplicate whatever he had. Even if it was just one, he missed it. So he missed out on his full potential. And finally, you create negative self-talk. When you hold on to negative beliefs, the things you say to yourself will be horrible, will be horrible. And of course, when you say these things to yourself, they they lead to that cycle. I want you to just keep going back to that thought model I shared earlier. They keep that cycle going. You keep telling yourself that you're not capable. You keep telling yourself that you always mess things up. Of course, that cycle continues. And again, I want you to think for a moment again, and I'm bringing this back for emphasis. I want you to think again about one limiting belief you've held on to, because this session is not just about me talking. It's really should yield a transformation. So think about it. What limiting belief have you been holding to yourself? What limiting belief have you been holding, have you held on to? And just think about how it has shaped your actions. How has it stopped you from moving forward? I mean, I have a lot of stories when it comes to limiting beliefs that I've held on to. And, just me taking action, I was able to see, oh my God, so this is what would have happened. Or I'm glad I went ahead, and just tell me that I wouldn't have enjoyed this benefit I'm enjoying just because I was so scared. So quickly, let's go to the types of mindsets. Just let me go to my chat. How are we doing? I think I've been talking for such a long time. Are we understanding? Am I talking to myself? Are we getting it?
Yes, we are.
Yes,
we are.
Okay, thank you. So let's talk about the types of mindsets. And this is something that a very popular psychologist, her name is Dr. Carol Dweck. I think she's a professor at Stanford University. And she's did a lot of research on growth mindsets. And she came up with the 2 mindsets that people have, a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So a fixed mindset is where you believe that everything about you is set in stone. Your abilities, your intelligence, if you believe that you're either good at something or you're not. So it's more of a judgmental attitude where you're judging yourself to say this is it and this is it. You can't be better than this. While a growth mindset, on the other hand, is when you believe that your abilities, your skills, your efforts, they can grow. Of course, not that you're saying that you can do everything in the world. No, we're not saying that you can do everything, but at least that thing that you know that you want to do, and you just believe that when you put your heart to it, when you subject yourself to learning it, and just persisting, you can be better at it, and that's the difference. One says it's fixed, the other one says it can improve. And just looking at the language, not sure why my slide is not moving. Okay, great. So just looking at the language of how it plays out. One says, I'm either good at something or I'm not. The other one says, I can improve. Fixed mindset will say, if I fail, then it means I'm not smart enough. But growth mindset will say, when I fail, I can learn from this. I take it as a feedback. Fixed mindset will say, if I struggle, it means I should just quit. If I'm struggling at something, if it's not coming easy to me, then I should just quit. But growth mindset will say, struggle is part of progress. And this just reminds me of the story of, I think, if I think I watched a clip on how a butterfly metamorphoses from, the pupa and all that stage to a butterfly, and how struggle is actually part of the progress. And I think the clip showed how somebody, a human being, was trying to help the butterfly, just come out. Unfortunately, that help they thought they were rendering was actually killing the butterfly, because the struggle was supposed to strengthen its wings so that it can fly. And that's actually what it is for us as humans. The Bible says, count it all joy when you go through different situations, trials and all of that, because it builds you up. It builds your faith. It builds your resilience. And also, fixed mindset will say, I don't like challenges. They expose my weakness. While a growth mindset will say, challenges help me grow stronger. Anyways, what happens when you embrace a growth mindset? You start to see challenges as opportunities and not threats. I think I kind of explained this. So if you avoid struggle, you're avoiding growth, and you will never be able to fly. When you embrace a growth mindset, failure becomes lessons, and you don't take them as final verdict. Okay? And you just know that your abilities are developed. They're developing and they're not static. But fixed mindset, like I said, will say that's it. Also, when you embrace a growth mindset, the things you say to yourself will be different. You challenge negative self-talk. When you start, not like the negative self-talk won't happen, but you won't let it take root. I always say this, like when it comes to thinking, it's like you can't control a bird being able to fly over your head, but you can control it from making a nest on your head. And that's how it is with negative thoughts. They will come. Even I'm a mindset coach, doesn't mean I don't still have negative thoughts. But when they come, what do I do with them? And finally, it increases your persistence, like I explained. Challenges help you. They help you build a thick skin. And then just want to introduce the concept of the power of yet. And that's also a concept I learned from Dr. Carol Dweck. So look at this statement, and I'm going to ask you a question. I can't do this versus I can't do this yet. So how different does this feel when you add the word yet?
Yes.
So I want someone to help me. Anybody?
Okay, I'm here. I believe that I can't do this is a final conclusion. I can't do this yet is a destination. Oh, I don't have the capacity to do it yet, but I'm getting there.
That's it. That's it. Yes. And that sounded like Naomi, right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you, Naomi. So
You're welcome.
that's it. That's it. Very simple, but very powerful. Imagine you say, I'm not good at public speaking. Just like Naomi said, it's final, it's definitive. Or you say, I'm not good at public speaking yet. Just that word brings in a lot of things. It says, it tells me that I'm self-aware. I know my abilities right now. It also gives me that, power or that will to want to learn. And that's what this word does for you. Okay. Like I said here, that one small word shifts your entire perspective from limitation to possibility. And that's the power of yet. So let's go quickly, just bringing everything together. Some of the things that I'll be showing here are things that I've said, even as we were talking. But just to bring it together, how do you overcome limiting beliefs and develop a growth mindset? The first one is identify your limiting beliefs. And that's why I've been shouting this, all through the session. You can't change what you don't recognize. So you must identify it. You need to do the work. And the thing about limiting beliefs, like I said, is it's gone past your conscious mind. It's now below the surface. It's now in your subconscious. So you have to sit down and take the time to reflect, and just think about opportunities you've lost. Think about opportunities think about things that you refuse to take on, and ask yourself, what stopped me? What really stopped me from taking on this opportunity? What was the belief? What was that thing I believed? What was that thing I was thinking that made me avoid it? Right? And also in identifying your limiting beliefs, pay attention to your self-talk. You tell yourself, I'm not good enough. What is the underlying belief? What are you running away from? Like, what is driving that thing? And the third thing I would say here is challenge them. Don't just, the Bible says that while men slept, the enemy came to sow tares amongst them. And the thing about the tares is when you don't take them out, they choke the truth. So yes, you might be saying, oh no, it's just, I mean, I don't really believe it. But no, you actually do. So when you identify them, make sure you challenge them. Is it really true? Is it really true? And okay, if you're saying yes, what's the evidence that you have that is true? Or is it just something that you believed for so long? Is it something you believe for so long? So again, identify it. What is your limiting belief? And the second thing, reframe it. So we've talked about the power of yet. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I can't do this yet. I can't do this, replace it with, or add a yet to it. Add a yet to it. So whatever thoughts you've identified, make sure, you reframe it into a growth statement. So for example, I am learning. I am improving at every opportunity I take. Rather than just telling yourself that you're not good at this or you can't do it. And the third thing here is take small, consistent actions. It's very important that you do this. Don't just stop at reframing it with positive words or the truth. Take action. You need to be able to prove to your belief that you can do this. You need to be able to prove that belief wrong. And the only way you can prove it wrong is by stepping outside your comfort zone. So the example I was using, if you think that you're not a confident, you're not a good public speaker, take on public speaking engagement. Speak up more. Like you won't get better at speaking by keeping quiet. No, you have to take action. You think that you're not a good leader, take on small leadership roles and start to develop yourself from there. I mean, it might look like, oh my God, that's opposite. I'm scared that I can't do this and you're telling me to go and do this. Yes, that's the result. That's actually what you need to do. You need to be able to take action to be able to counter that belief that you've held on for so long. And here it says, embrace challenges and mistakes. And I think I've touched on this a lot. Your mistake is just a data. It's not a final sentence. It's not a death sentence. And I think the other day I was telling my son about Thomas Edison and how he went through 99 iterations of the light bulb before he came, to that final light bulb. And I was just asking myself, what if he stopped? What if after all the challenges, he decided that he wasn't going ahead? And, what would have happened? I mean, maybe someone else would have discovered it, but just imagine nobody discovered light bulb. It means that our productivity would be impaired. Like just imagine like all the beautiful chandeliers that have come out just because light can exist, and all the other technologies that have come out of just discovering, the power of light. So, like I said, the mistakes you make is not a death sentence. It's just a data, and treat it as such. Don't over internalize it. The fifth point here, I think I've also explained this. Surround yourself with growth-oriented people. See, you can't be, what's that word now? You can't be lackadaisical about the people you have around you. You can't. You think it's not affecting you, but it is. You think, oh no, it's fine, I'm good, I'm okay. No, you are not. They are rubbing off on you. Their limiting beliefs are rubbing off on you. So it's very important that you're surrounding yourself with growth-oriented people. And I'm sure like the community we have at SWI is an excellent one that, that proves or that has a lot of growth-oriented people. So if you're in this community, that's a beautiful one. We have a WhatsApp group as well where, we connect with each other, we help each other. And of course, breakfast meetings like this as well too. And the other thing is when you're around these people, it's just easier to speak positively. It's just easier to believe positive things about yourself. And this sixth one for me was a game changer. Developing a habit of gratitude. So I used to be the kind of person that would see my cup as half full rather than half empty. I would just be focusing on the things that I did not have rather than celebrating what I already had. And it wasn't doing me any good. It was constantly putting me in that state of lack. And when you're in that state of lack, nothing good can come out of it. So develop the habit of gratitude. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it is. And tell yourself, you did something nice today. I remember when I was working on this PowerPoint, as I kept going, I was like, oh, wow, nice, nice. I was telling myself, nice, you did this. Well done, well done. I was telling myself all of that. So develop that habit of gratitude for yourself, even to people around you. It would really help your mindset. And it will take you from that limiting belief to just having a growth mindset, a mindset that explores or opens you up to your full potential. And I'm sure you saw this one coming. Let God in. See, if I told you all those other points that I did and I don't tell you this, I'll be deceiving you. Because one thing that has helped me with reframing my thoughts from the negative to the positive is actually bringing in truth. It's important to bring in truth because you don't want to reframe your thoughts with something that is fleeting, something that is not anchored on anything. But for me, I find that I can anchor those replacement, those empowering thoughts, I can anchor them on the word of God. And that has been a game changer. So even when my reality is not showing it, I hold on to what the word of God has said about me. I hold on to it. Sometimes when I'm feeling fear and I just tell myself, Kate, God has not given you the spirit of fear, but has given me power. He has given me love. He has given me a sound mind. There's a way that thing just excites me and just changes everything for me, and that's what I mean here when I say let God in. Allow God's word shine his light to that darkness, that limiting belief that you have. Trust me, there's something for every limiting belief you have. There's something in the word for it. You just need to find it. You need to find it. And this is something that should be a priority for you. So let's wrap up. I don't know how long I've been talking for, but let's wrap up. We've looked at how our thoughts shape our beliefs. We've looked at how our beliefs goes on to shape our actions and how our actions shape our lives. And I just want to tell you that you are not stuck. No, you're not. And you're not limited. Don't think about it like, oh, if I had more money, or if I was born into this family. No, that's not what you should be thinking about. The only thing standing between you and the life that God has called you to is the mindset that you're choosing to hold on to. And I really want you to believe this, because if you don't believe it, then everything we're saying here today would just be a waste of time. The only thing standing between you and your dream life is the mindset you choose to hold on to. I mean, if you don't take anything away from this session, please just know this. Just know this. Don't blame anybody for your circumstances. Don't. Yes, I mean, you can clearly, you sometimes may be able to clearly say that, no, is this person that caused it? But I always say that it's not necessarily the circumstance. It's actually your response to that circumstance. So again, the only thing standing between you and the mindset, and the dream life is the mindset you're holding on to. So I'm bringing this back again for emphasis. What is one limiting belief that you are going to release today? Because for me, I like action. I like transformation. I don't want to be in a session where I just listened in and nothing has changed. So I'm asking you, have you identified something that is holding you back? And are you thinking of what you're going to replace it with? Are you thinking of what you're going to replace it with? So whatever it is you come up with in terms of the empowering thoughts that you're replacing it with, make sure you continue to speak it over yourself. And more importantly, live it like it's true. live it like it's true. So maybe you used to believe that you're not good enough. And now you tell yourself that you're worthy of every opportunity that comes your way. Don't just stop at saying it to yourself. Believe it. Like, believe it so much that it shows in how you live out your life. The things I believe about myself, sometimes I'm like, kids, like, what would you do without this belief system? Like, it needs to be so strong because that's what will affect everything you do in life, all the opportunities you take, the way you see yourself. And finally, I'd say your mind is the battleground where your future is either won or lost. And when you renew your mind, you're able to transform your life. Thank you.
All right. Wow, thank you so much. We should be saying thank you so much. Can we all say thank you so much?
Thank you so much.
First of all, I have 3 comments. Beautiful slides. Practical tech. What's the word now? Practical insights. Yes, and wonderful delivery. Thank you so much. So beautiful. I mean, I can't imagine you're looking this good at about 5, 6 a.m. That is top notch. All right, everyone. So at this point, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. This is the mindset coach. Outside of this session, you'll be paying her to get out to discuss with us. So use it now. Or what's one thing that really stood out for you from what you learned? I'll share mine, and hopefully you will not say you said that I'm dead to say. So mine is the yet factor. I think that was one of the most powerful things I learned today, and it's a game changer. Saying I can't do it, I can't do it yet. It's so powerful, and I can imagine someone in a very overwhelming situation where you just go into a role and there's so much expectation that they are setting for you, and for you can't do these things, like you can't do them right now. It's easy to say, but I don't know it. What that does is to limit you and keep you in that state of feeling depressed, feeling anxious, feeling all of those feelings come to saying I don't know it, but they are expecting it from me. But when you say I don't know it yet, it creates even to the people you are communicating to, it presents you as a person that is open to growth, that is willing to learn, and is willing to put in the work. So you saying I don't know it yet is communicating that right now you can see that I don't know it, but come 2 weeks later I will know this thing, or I would have made some progress. So it's both influences your own mindset and it changes people's perception about you. It shows the kind of mentality you have, a growth mindset. Saying I don't know it yet presents you as I don't know it right now, but I'm willing to learn it and I'm going to learn it. And I'm telling you now that next time you come, I will know it. Do you understand? Yes. So, I mean, that was powerful for me. So thank you so much for that. Additional, please ask a question.
Oh no, I don't have a question. I just have comments. Thank you so much, Mama Katie. So yes, the fact that, she's all dressed up with a pretty face stood out for me. And
Right.
it also speaks to, the mindset like, oh, I have to be excellent in all that I do. Also showing up for that. So that's one thing. Another thing, well, thank you for that, Mama Kate. Thank you for setting the pace. Another thing I learned was, or is about that limiting belief. I kind of have a similar experience with Mama Kate, and it's about taking exams. Like I had a situation when I was in school, and for some reason, that it was 2 experiences while in school. I took, some exams and I failed them. And for some reason, I have a phobia for exams. Like even as little as a driving written test. And I see people that, have done these exams that I would like to do. I'm like, I can do better than these guys. Like, even in execution, like I'm better than they are. But when it's time for me to write that exam, there's just this phobia. And then I just get to postpone and I'm still in that situation. So thank you for helping me. Thank you for sharing your story. So I hopefully in a couple of months I'll come back and testify. about this whole exam phobia thingy, and then, putting myself in, certain climes where I would be very visible. Thank you so much again.
Thank you. Mom, can you also
Thank
respond to
you.
that?
Yes, I mean, thank you so much, Deshala. And just like you said, you see other people that are not as, I mean, in terms of execution, that are not as great as you are. And that's what happens when you don't show up. That's what happens when you don't let go of those limits. People that are not as good as you are would start doing things and they start getting more recognitions than you ought to. They start living the life that you want to live. So really, like, I would say just go and take action. Do it afraid. Like the number of things I've done afraid in my life has been mind blowing. And the funny thing is, when I do those things afraid and I look back, I'm like, what were you scared of? Nothing, actually. Nothing. So the way to actually overcome that is doing it afraid. So thank you so much, Deshala, and thank you so much for the feedback. I appreciate it.
All right. Any other contribution or question, real quick?
I have something to say.
Okay. Please,
Sister
can you hear me?
Sister Kate, thank you everyone. I wanted to say that the mindset is something that I came to the limelight from last year, and I've seen how it has changed, and I thank God because this came in right on time. I was telling Rabbi earlier this year that I'm trying to get certifications, trying to get, HR came for me in a way that I never really expected this. And when I got the admission, I couldn't do the exam because the period came. The exam was supposed to be yesterday and today. And I felt like I was not in a mental space to do it because I was juggling between work and coming back. And the exam came because I'm in a managerial position and I felt like I need to do it. I'm in a law firm heading over HR, over lawyers. I felt like I needed to catch up. I would want them. I'm like I'm in competition with myself, you know. And I just told myself yesterday that I need to give myself grace. That I can do it, but I can't do it. Yes, because I've not been able to understand the role that I'm in yet. It's a new role. It's a new career line for me, and I needed to just give myself grace and not pressure myself to try to catch up because I felt like my mates have gone ahead of me. I need to go as far as they are. And I just really enjoyed that. This is a lightning for me. Thank you.
Oh,
Wow.
that's all that's a club. So, yes. Do you want to respond to that? We should go to another question.
Yes, you can move on. I
Okay.
mean, Naomi
I,
already answered herself, so she's that's
yes.
the right mindset to have. So thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'll go after you. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you finally.
Okay. Thank you so much for this very wonderful session. Um, I'm someone that would always join a good conversation about the mind because one thing that our wonderful facilitator said is the fact that it's a constant, it's a constant battle, I'll say, because these thoughts never try to stop coming. Um, the yes factor definitely is very powerful, stood out for me. And, I was just telling myself again how just one word can make a difference, in how we see things and how everything is just about our perspective. And the reason why the mindset is so powerful because it's not so much about the actions, but about the underlying mindsets behind the actions. One thing that our facilitator touched on is the fact that it doesn't mean that you will do everything there is to be done in the world. I mean, you only have so much of a lifetime, right? But even when you choose not to do things, it's not from a defeatist mindset. I'll give you an example. Of course, this growth mindset and fixed mindset is something that when I learned about really changed the game for me because I realized that I had such a very, very fixed mindset.
recently I decided not to go ahead with something because I had been trying to do it and it wasn't working out. However, I was able to sit down and realize that the reason why it wasn't working out was because I needed to commit more time. And it's also very related to Naomi's comment. I needed to dedicate more time to learning that thing. And I told myself I did not really feel that was the most productive use of my time at this moment, based on all other things I also need to be doing. So I decided to abandon it. But it wasn't because I told myself, oh, you can't do it, blah, 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 and everything. So it's not like we would do everything there is to be done. It's not like we would not experience failures. It's not like everything we start, laying our hands to do will be 100% because we have changed our mindset and everything. But our mindset would keep us going, and we would operate um from a place of victory rather than from a place of defeat. Thank you so much for this amazing session. Thank you so, so much.
Wow. All right. Thank you. I want to add something to say to that. That's my train of thought right now. Okay, so it was about I think what you just said is so important, and if I may, and I think I would like so another mindset thing. You can hear us calling out mama kids and everything. It started from CEO and that kind of stuff. So please don't feel compelled to use mama kids, but just allow me to continue using my mama kid like that. Thank you very much. So I think I would like to actually speak to that. There's this in the bid to be a person that is part or using developing a growth mindset. It's easy to say I must do, I must do, I must do, but there needs to be a point where you realize that part of having a growth mindset is actually to drop some things and to stop some things. Like no matter how okay, maybe for instance, someone let me use myself no, I'm using myself. Let's say someone is doing a certification, for instance, right? I am in this line of business and I'm taking this certification because I've already invested so much into it. And I changed my line of business and I'm still thinking I still need to finish this thing. Meanwhile, it's not so relevant, it's not the immediately relevant thing in the new line of work that I'm doing. Taking a decision to stop it after I put so much investment, it feels like a breakup somewhat. Do you understand? Like I invested so much in this relationship and then just to break, like, let me just continue. So I would like you to speak to that for a little bit, if you may.
Okay. So, and I think it's related to what Inge said. God put you in this earth for something. You have a purpose, and I'm sure we've all, at least at one point in our lives, heard about, the purpose conversation, what God wants you to do, what God is calling you to do. God is not calling you to be the savior of the world again. Jesus already did that, right?
Yes.
So you need to first, and I think it's a bit related to, because I'll be speaking later this afternoon at another session. It's talking about thriving and not surviving. So you should be in control of your life, not external circumstances, not external circumstances controlling you. So if you get to a point where you were on a path and you think you want to switch, why not? Like, it's better you count your losses in that moment than trying to just push through just because other people are doing it. Now, I'll give you another personal example. I was at a company or rather at an industry, at a line of work for almost 7 years. And I was doing very well, like extremely well. I was getting promoted when it was time to get promoted. But it got to a point where it no longer aligned with where I was and what I wanted for my future. It no longer aligned. And I had to make that tough decision to say, you know what, you're leaving. Let's do something else. It was very tough. Trust me, like I just said this thing in one word or two sentences. It was a process. I think it took like 3 years before I finally moved on and made that decision. But I can tell you, looking back, it's been the best decision of my life. I don't regret it one bit. I left at the point when I was going to be a manager. I remember, when I was leaving, I had like meetings with about 3 partners, and they kept telling me, "You're number one on our list. You have just 4 more months to make manager. Why are you doing this? Why are you leaving? Why are you doing this?" But I was making the decision for myself. For myself. I had done my assessment. I knew what I wanted with my life, and it wasn't looking like it. And I had been in that circle for too long. So what I'll say is make your decision for yourself. And it goes back to self-awareness.
Yeah.
What do you know about yourself? What do you know about your dream life? What do you know about your future? And start working. Like, it's not too late. And I think we touched on it as well. It's not too late for you to make any decision. Like, and as long as that decision is taking you in the direction of your dream life, it's not too late.
Yes.
I made that decision 2 years ago to switch careers. And okay, I don't think I want to say this on this call, but what I want to say is it's not too late
Yes.
to make a switch.
Yeah.
This last switch I made is not going to be the final switch I will make in my career. There will be many more. And I think I'm bolder now. Like, ever since I made that first switch, I'm bolder. Like, I can see opportunities. I'm like, I think I like that. I'm bolder, basically. So yes, I hope that answered your comment or your question.
Yes, I think it's well addressed. Thank you very much. Any more? One more, okay. So any other person after Kundaya? Okay, so if you don't mind, one more, please. One more question.
All right, thank you very much, man. I want you to throw more light on the thought cycle. Like, I got lost when you were explaining. Thank you very much.
The thought model.
The thought.
Oh, yes, sir. You're muted. I couldn't wanted to please throw more light on the thought cycle.
Yes, so I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if you guys can still see my slide anyway.
Yes, you can see the renewed mind folder.
Okay, so let me. So do you see my slides now? I believe so.
Yes.
So let me just move on quickly to where. Okay, so the thought model is, like I said, it's a cycle. And do you see my cursor?
Oh, yes, I can see your cursor.
Okay, so it starts with your thoughts, right? So your thoughts are the things you say to yourself. You might not say them out loud for people to hear, but those are the things that go on in your head. So you could tell yourself that you're not good enough. Or, it could even be something positive. It could be that you're telling yourself that you're smart. And whatever it is you're thinking, whatever it is you're saying to yourself is evoking an emotion. If you say to yourself that you're not good enough, you start to feel defeated. You start to feel, fear when opportunities that are good come your way. And then the next thing from your feelings, it goes to your actions or inaction. So for example, if you feel like you're not good enough, it will drive the actions you take. When you see the story I started with earlier on, the story of me applying to, top companies, I felt that I wasn't good enough, and that's why I stopped applying. So it led to an inaction. And the moment where I got myself back and I started feeling like, these people don't have 2 heads, I can do it. It also drove an action of me going back to apply. And of course, that leads to a result. The actions you take, of course, when I don't apply to a company, I don't expect to get an offer letter from the company. But when I applied and I went through the process, I got an offer letter, and that's the result. And the thing about the result is that it reinforces your belief. And so we're here now. The result reinforces your belief. Sorry. So it reinforces your belief. Now, the moment I got that offer letter, I was like, yes, you see, I can do it. I can do it. But just imagine if I stopped at the point where I felt I wasn't good enough and I did not apply. The belief that will be reinforced is that you're not good enough for those top firms. And what I will go on to do is I will avoid those kind of companies completely and only go for, low tier firms. Right. And then, of course, from your beliefs are just a set of minds, a set of let's say, sorry, your mindset are a set of beliefs that then act as that lens and shape your future thoughts. So like I said, if I had stopped at the point where I'm like, I'm not good enough, that would then keep going. And it's not just being career, it would affect and infiltrate other areas of my life. Even in terms of relationship, maybe the kind of person I would have gotten married to would be somebody that has low self-esteem like me. Will be somebody that cannot, like, you will see some people and you'll be like, no, this person is off limits for me. No. Why should anyone, like, if I think that this thing is good enough or this thing is pleasing to the eye, I can have it. But there's a way you would think, there's a way you condition your thoughts that you will just say, no, this is out of bound for me. This kind of person is too much for me. No. And that's how that cycle continues. It goes on, it might start in one area of your life, but it goes on to other areas of your life. I hope that explains it.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
It says it's clear.
Please, I just wanted to add to what she said. So interestingly, I was telling Thomas about this while we're discussing. Pastor Thomas. Yes, that you're pastor.
Go on.
Okay. So I was telling him about this, that when I started applying for jobs, she actually mentioned this story to me then, that when she got her job at PwC, she looked around and she was like, wow, I could get this kind of job. And I recall that starting my career, I started as an administrative officer, right? And I have been applying to a lot of other big organizations. I would do an interview, I would do exams, and I would not get the job for no good reason. So I felt like, okay, maybe this is what I should just do at that point. And here my boss was saying, because it was a contract for 4 months. Like, no, I want to renew your contract. You're so good at this. If you don't want to stay with me, I can refer you to my friends. I mean, if you don't want to do this, stay with me, I can refer you to my friends. They are big guys, you travel the world, you do this, you do that. But I mean, on God's instruction, I left the job. And interestingly, the job I would get next was at an FMCG, a very big one. I was at UAC. At UAC, I felt again that, okay, Olamide, you're not the smartest in the room. You're working with people who have worked in other big organizations before, but here you're coming from an administrative officer role. So do you really think that you are it? But I'll be in meetings and let me just say one small thing that, in my opinion, I'm like, hey, God, I might be wrong, but yourself should be confident. Let's talk. And they'll literally tell me, okay, this was very good. And so this thing started to build my confidence, And getting to where I am now, it was a company that reached out to me, okay, well, we're looking for someone like this. And when I saw the name of the company, I was like, wow, is this me? How did I get this? And I got the job. But in getting the job, I also kind of shortchanged myself in some way. But me that I know that I could get that job, I could get this role, then nothing, bring it on, nothing. But so it's just reiterating what she has said, that don't limit yourself. Imagine at the time I was to apply for the first one, that was UAC, I had told myself, you can't do. Or I had even shrunk in my role there that I did not shine. Then this next company won't have reached out to me. Now, imagine if when they reached out to me, I didn't move or I didn't believe that I could get it. I had limited myself. Then other companies that are now reaching out to me won't reach out to me because, I mean, just imagine I had stayed at that administrative officer role. I had started traveling the world, going to UK, going to this place, going to that place on a PA basis. I mean, there are people who say that's their calling, no problem, but that's not my own calling. So, just to reiterate what she said.
Sorry, just add something. Yes. Trying to just address something that I think some of us might probably be in that position, which is the imposter syndrome. Now, and the imposter syndrome is something that happens more. Oh, sorry. So I was saying that just to address something that sometimes happens for some of us, right, which has to do with the imposter syndrome, right? And the imposter syndrome is something that happens when you find yourself in a particular position and you feel unqualified for, right? You feel like I am not the best at this. Now, I would use myself personally as an example. when I started where I'm working currently, because of the relationship I already had with the people who started the company, it was almost more like, oh, I got into the company on a friendship basis. I've got to where I'm going to because, oh, these are my guys. I've known them from school. We've done this thing before, and so that was the major reason why. And so there was a certain point in my life and in my career where I felt like I'm just getting this job and I'm just being in this place just because they know me and they are my guys, right? I had to now start tweaking my mindset to, first of all, see myself as a person of value, right? See myself as someone who has something to offer, right? And this is the mindset you must have as a person. See yourself as a person of value. See yourself as someone who has something to offer, something different that is unique, that is important to the growth of the company, right? Or to wherever you find yourself, or to if you're in a relationship. See yourself as someone who has something to offer, right? Wherever you find yourself. Once you can see yourself first from that side, that mentality, right? It then becomes much more easier to help yourself grow into the role, right? So see yourself beyond, oh, I just got here because I am known, or because, oh, maybe just someone recommended me just on the basis of, oh, they like me, but and I don't have this skill, right? Now there's a case of, oh, I don't have enough knowledge yet, like we've been learning, right? I don't have enough knowledge yet on this, right? And then there's a place of, I don't have enough knowledge yet, but I can build myself to get into where I need to be. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, my kids. Thank you for staying with us this long, and for we would want to release you now and say, but thank you so much. But before you go, I have just one more question. That's from me. Was this intentional? Your face, right? It fits the background of the presentation, and then the color of the font, it fits your lipstick. So was that intentional?
I don't know
Like,
about that.
well, that's some branding right there. Now, it has become such a mindset that it influences your thoughts and your actions without you even knowing. That's
Maybe.
powerful right there. Thank you
Actually,
so
thinking
much.
about it so much, I think it was yesterday. I was looking at my wardrobe and I'm like, I have a lot of what color would I call this now? Like beige. Like
Yeah.
almost everything I have in my wardrobe is this color. I'm like, what's going on? And that's like my brand color as well. So actually, you're right.
It's good. We love it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being an
All
example of what
right.
you say. So beautiful to see. Thank you so much. We
Thank
release you
you.
now, so while
All
we
right.
try and complete some of a few things here. Thank you so much.
All
Round of
right.
applause, everyone.
Bye.
So I believe we've come to the end of the breakfast meeting for today. Pardon? We've come to the end of the breakfast meeting for today. Thank you, everyone that joined us online. Thank you, Tolu. Thank you, Deshola. Thank you, Ian. And I particularly appreciate you for being for making it interactive and engaging with us, albeit virtually. Thank you so much. We did physical audience. We are all saying thank you. Can we all say thank you?
Thank you.
We look forward to seeing you guys soon. Either no, I'll have said we look forward to having you guys here, but no, we look forward to coming there to say hi to you guys. That's the better thing to say. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day, everyone. I can imagine what time it is over there, so thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day. God bless you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, Deshala.
Bye. Thank you so much.
No, they're just anything. Just
Exactly,
anything.
just end it. Only, this is Lee.